I am Dungeon Master, your guide in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I am the Dungeon Master, and this is Heroes Wanted. Tonight, we rejoin the new party of Nova, Solar Flare, Soggy, and the robotic Warforged Gnomon, who are now finding out from Nova that the General Visanthus, who just leapt through time, is from the future where she had stopped him, but not really, because he managed to cast his ritual to jump through time, grabbed the Moonblade from this timeline, and is now uh, setting up to take over this timeline from long ago when he'll have even more of an advantage. And the only thing that she knows for sure is that she was able to cast a scroll that revived him, and because he was so old, he just would die. But before uh, that could take effect, he came back in time. So now it's the old Visanthus in the young Visanthus's body back in time when he can like take advantage of all of that knowledge. So he's going to start like uh his own version of Google and Amazon and just like take over.
Soggy is just sort of infuriated now. He still hasn't calmed down after the death of Donovan, and now he's just sort of furious now. He's sort of firing multiple Eldritch blasts at where the Santis was.
Pew pew pew. The kobold fires off bolts of eldritch energy that take the form of a thunderous storm out at the sea and smell of lightning and salt. And angrily, he kicks the ground, and you can hear him mumbling something about Donovan and how Soggy was having.
Having. Francis. Ventus. And he's sort of like he's just grinding his teeth now.
Can someone tell me where I am? I am a little confused.
Right. Adarakis, where are we?
You're in a crypt on the
Yeah, I
border
remember that.
kingdoms, the border of the wilds by the border kingdoms, and you are displaced in time. Well, not you. You know exactly where you are and what's going on. You're in charge around here. But
Yeah.
Soggy seems to be some sort of time displaced kobold, and this is some kind of ASMR, which you are only familiar with um, from like ancient history.
Mm-hmm. Wait. From ancient history, but didn't they just say come from the future?
I know what I said.
Well, if it means anything. Okay, so character backstory thing, entirely up to you guys if you want me to just tell you, or it eventually come out.
Nope. I don't want to know up front, and I'll probably forget because I'm bad with that kind of information.
Alrighty.
The concept.
So yeah, you know that the Asamar are beings that were born of the Nephilim, angel and human hybrids, and that this race, claims to be descended from them, but you guys haven't seen them since like the Dawn Wars.
All
Well,
I
I
goes
mean,
with the Dawn
oh,
Wars.
okay, not the Dawn Wars. That's a little too far back, but like since the Elven
Wait,
Empire.
wait. I want to put everything in perspective. How old am I?
You can be anywhere from 50 to 250 years old.
Okay, I'm gonna go on the high end. I'm gonna say I'm 250.
Okay. So
How old, like how far back should you have to go to see an Asmar relative to me? Like this timeline that we're currently in.
another 250 years at least.
So like 500 years ago stuff. The domain of Azamars.
Well,
And we have one here now.
Here's the one thing now, don't get me wrong, this is your world, so any way that you want it, that's how it is. But the Raw does describe Asimars as having a certain similarity to that of sorcerers, where your great 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 granddad could have been magical in some means and has skipped all those generations and activated in you. An Asimar can be born of two seemingly
Yes.
normal human parents
Yes, that
and
is
be born
exactly how it is. Yes.
with gold hair and gold eyes and the ability to grow wings.
Yes. And that's just, for the record, what I'm talking about is the Asamar as a race has not been seen in 500 years, and most of the Asamar born are not known of. So to have seen one, like this is a rare occurrence that has not been heard of in hundreds of years.
Okay. This. Well, Noman will do the thing that he tends to do in these situations. Just gonna take out a piece of paper and write this down. Noman just loudly kind of voices Azamar sighting into temple and report.
So Nova is going to notice that there is a dead man on the floor. She's going to slowly approach him and she's going to attempt to cast Revivify. She begins to levitate off the ground and light from her eye glows her eyes and begins to swirl sort of around her. It concentrates into what appears to be a small star, and as it lowers and descends, she stops. Nova appears to be in a trance, and then after about a few minutes, she descends to the floor. She says, "This man does not want to be resurrected."
Soggy sort of runs over to Donovan's body, sort of hissing at Nova, sort of like, "No touch, no touch." Soggy can fix. Soggy can fix. As he desperately tries to like cast the cure wounds that he used to be able to do.
Nova's gonna place one of her hands on his shoulder and say, "Stop. He does not wish to return. This was a very deeply. This man had a very deep, tragic life, and he is with his family now."
Soggy sort of looks up to the ASMR, sort of like you sort of notice that he's just been his face is now just covered in tears and sort of just seems to have just been drenched in just that sorrow and sort of just sort of holding on to what to the chest plate of Donovan, sort of still crying. He
All right.
he stayed when everyone else went, but now Soggy alone. He sort of is just standing there sobbing like a little kid just lost his parents.
No one's gonna head outside and start digging a hole. It's what seems logical on point.
It
His
is.
calculation is like, well, this guy is not native to the timeline, so there will be no next of kin to notify. We might as well hold a service here.
Yeah, no, at 100%. The Warforged quickly deduces that the only thing to do here is start digging a hole, and therefore a hole is dug as Nova can smell not just the saltiness of the tears, but like the very salt of the sea air as Soggy bawls uncontrollably.
Nova will give him a hug.
First, Saki just flinches as he feels the hug of Nova, then sort of just softens as he just sort of just flops over in defeat, sort of like he's defeated.
So, you guys know there is a powerful vampire lord who now has the weapon that he needs and the knowledge that he needs to conquer a timeline that is unprepared for him. What do you do?
Saki
Well,
sort of props himself up, sort of wiping his face, and says, "Kill. Vanthis needs to die."
so kind of an awkward question, me being me, but like a lot of this sounds complicated, strange, but also, from my appraisal of things, sounds a little distant. That is, What will happen to this timeline if we do nothing?
I mean, indeterminate, but likely Visanthus will do what he did in his timeline, only here and better.
All right. That's actually a good argument.
Case.
All right, then. Next is, what can we actually do to fix any of this?
Well, Soggy is convinced that if he were to somehow get the power of the Bunyip involved, that he can fix the Moonblade back to the Sunblade, denying Visanthus the power that he needs to blot out the sun. However, that remains unproven. But also, Nova does know the location of Visanthus's ultimate lair that he has in the future, and it is an ancient bone tower that exists in this timeline, and it is likely that he would seek out familiar territory.
Now that is promising. How big's the tower?
It is said to stretch from the sky down to the pits of the abyss.
But really, how big is it?
I don't know, like fucking 100 feet across.
That's pretty big. So I have a thing. I have an idea.
Be more like 75 or 50 or something. I don't know. I'll have to look at the map.
I have an idea. What if we went there and blew it up?
Yeah, let's blow it up.
I'm just thinking, towers being towers. You only really need to cause one big failure for the entire thing to come down, no matter how deep underground it stretches.
And Sabita looks over and says, "He must drown. Visanthus must drown. This is the way."
Warforged does another scratch on his chin and says, "Can't undead survive without water, air?"
Most of them.
Well, Soggy doesn't really understand the concept of undead. Only knows that shiny stuff hurt them.
Right. Still, I don't know if at our current level of ability a direct assault on such a place would be all that advisable.
There has to be a better way.
Yes.
Soggy looks to the automaton and sort of says, "Do you have shiny stuff?" Where from?
Well, I mean, in terms of wealth, yes, I do have some. Not on me, of course, but I'm a knight.
He sort of like waves his hand in the air and says, "Not that shiny stuff." He pulls out the whip of light and says, "This shiny stuff."
What, enchanted weapons? I make such things myself.
But do they make the Soggy sort of like tries to wave his hands in the air, trying to make the term of holy?
No. Presently, that's not within my capabilities.
But do you know anyone that can do that?
Now, let's see. What could I roll against for that?
That would be just your general knowledge of the area, which I would give you advantage on since you're, obviously on top of that.
So roll an intelligence check with advantage.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Man, some good checks.
Yeah, so what you know is that the priests of the Bretonian knighthood are capable of great spells of divine magic. Other than that, it is said that the Carpathians used to have holy knights before they turned to the dark arts. And there are like a lot of charlatans who claim to have healing powers, but they're just lying.
Let me see. Oh, question. When it comes to this bone tower, this thing isn't like well known. Like I had never heard of it before, right?
Right.
I wonder if I could convince a notable benefactor to lend aid by offering this important information. Something about crusading and all that.
Ooh.
I mean, nothing stirs the hearts of good men like knowing there is a den of evil and villainy that needs to be rooted out with violence.
Yes, but it has to be set to a catchy tune.
Mm.
That you
What
gotta
would
go
I
all Beauty and the Beast and rile up the mob.
what would I know of this tower?
What?
Assuming the information of the tower originally came from me.
Yes, what you know about this tower is that it is located uh, on the southern continent in the desert, a ziggurat of power from an
And
ancient
yeah,
time, and that it can be accessed through General Visanthis's Black Tower here in Carpathia, and if you guys use his magic mirror, that is a full-length mirror in his bedroom, you can step through to the Bone Tower. That's how you got there, anyway. Because by the time you got there, it existed on the plane of shadow. So it was no longer accessible through the mortal world.
Hmm. All very, very interesting.
Speaking of which, he might be trying to get his tower onto the plane of shadow, and there he's nigh undefeatable.
and Soggy is sort of like is preparing to just charge out of the room and sort of like scream revenge at the top of his lungs, and 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 the only thing preventing him is just the fact that he's sort of like is still sort of like looking at the other two to see if they agree. Like he's trying to have.
Hmm.
From what this man showed me, he lived a life full of the desire for vengeance. Look where it got him.
Indeed. One does not live to be old by blindly rushing into things. If we want to root out evil, we most certainly will, but proper planning and understanding of things is necessary. I also don't believe we can set out on such a task without, well, a blessing of sorts. Still, deciding what exactly to do is difficult. I suppose better arms and armor are always preferable, but you two are of the casting persuasion. Might also be prudent to know a bit more about vampires. What do you know about vampires? Is they referencing Nova?
Well, let me roll for that.
Well, you can roll religion at advantage because, well, that's pretty good anyway. But you can roll again to see if you crit it.
Ah!
Oh, all right. But anyway, you did a lot of research into vampires since you come from a timeline where vampires have basically taken over and it's a bad thing. And so you know that one of their only weaknesses is the sun, which keeps them from being able to regenerate. And once General Vasanthus blotted out the power of the sun, all vampires can regenerate all the time, no matter what. And then he went ahead and moved his base of operations onto the plane of shadow. And once connected with the plane of shadow, instead of reverting to mist when his form hits zero, it just continues to regenerate constantly until he's at enough negative hit points to where he would be dead outright, at which point he turns to mist. So he basically has double hit points on the Shadowfell. Plus keeps regenerating the whole time.
And how do we kill a vampire?
The only way Nova knew how to do it after he had become invincible like that was to bring him back to life using one of the most powerful resurrect scrolls in existence, and that basically overcame all of the rest of the magic that kept him alive because he now was alive, and so he just aged into a pile of dust, or at least that's what would have happened if things would have gone right. But he used time fuckery to defeat the magic of the scroll by coming back into his younger body. And so technically his body did die, but his spirit now exists in his younger body. So, you know,
All
that's
right.
but
I do not.
Oh, go ahead.
I am not very capable when it comes to fighting outright, but I read to him a page from the Book of Exalted Deeds. It is a very old and powerful book, an artifact of the gods. It comes in and out of existence in various times and places. It is very rare to see it, and I only had the one page. But when I read it to him, I brought him back to life. When I did so, his age caught up with him. But before he could turn to ash, he sent me through time, and now we are both here. I have no idea what is to become of him, if he has been transformed back into a human, but I doubt it.
I see. Question. Are there any other vampires to be note of? He obviously would have thralls or something.
Yeah, there's vampire spawn, which are his like, you know, bastard spawn low level minions. But then he also has several vampire relatives that Nova knows he killed to gain the power in the future, but they would probably still exist now here in Carpathia. And she also knows that you can normally kill a vampire during sunlight hours by either um, cutting off their head and staking them through the heart, or finishing them with holy water and burning the body.
I see. Uh-huh. Okay. That all sounds very obnoxious. Okay, so that shadow plane business hasn't happened yet on this planet. So can he be killed like a normal vampire, or does an ultimate option still required?
Oh no, yeah, he's not on the shadow plane yet.
Okay. So that provides to me that we need, in essence, two important things. One is that we flatly and plainly need to be a bit better at killing undead. What happened in the most recent fight was nigh unacceptable, having a party member go down against two undead. And two, we need to develop some means or mechanism by which to defend ourselves from time alteration magic. Now, despite the scope of that statement, I actually believe it should be very possible. Magic meant to flatly negate and prevent.
Shows him the necklace the twins made. Shows him the necklace the twins made before they disappeared.
What is this?
It is special necklace. Protects from magic. Was made to protect from evil forest, but now was altered thanks to Gnome brothers, though they disappeared.
I see.
Powerful gem inside called Star Opal.
It's true. And it functions as a +1 protection amulet that gives you +1 to all your saving throws.
I see.
Hey, DM, I sent you a link. If by any chance, if it would be possible through our adventuring, if I can come across an item like that, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah, right now my magic item inventory is zilch.
Yeah, that's right. You're supposed to pick either magic weapon or magic armor or magic item as your one free magic item that you get for starting at a higher level here. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're talking about there. But yeah, for now, if you want to have, say, like a parafat of healing or something like that.
Okay, so when I heal others, I also heal.
Yep.
A what?
Parafat of healing is more or less. I have to look more in the details, but when I cast a spell that increases the health points, basically healing, not like aid or anything like that, but a parafet of healing. Also, I don't need to cast it on myself. If I'm injured and you're injured, right? I don't need to cast, say, mass cure wounds or mass healing word. I can just cure you, and then I will also receive those benefits.
Interesting.
Yeah, when you tie that into
Hmm.
what life clerics get at the end of it, it's like double the hero healing when you add that together.
Certainly would be helpful. So
Right. That is interesting. Now, so on the other thought, I believe, and hear me out, because this is extremely theoretical. It should probably be possible to make something that denies extra chrono travel. Simple reason. I believe the only reason it doesn't exist already is that type of magic is rare, but I don't believe it is any less disruptible. For context, there's an item that is already in use called Dimensional Shackles that prevent movement through space, and they work with absolute effect. Normally, you put them on something else to prevent them from getting away, but I think some altered shackles placed on ourselves could prevent us from being flung away from a given point in time. Of course, creating or sourcing such items may be somewhat difficult.
You're an artificer, right?
I am an art fisher.
Yeah, so you know with absolute certainty that you've done the math on this enough times to know that it's right.
That it's what?
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes. Of course, also being an artificer, how hard would it be to make such a thing? I imagine it would impinge on research that I haven't yet conducted.
Yes.
Because knowing it's possible and doing it are separate things.
Correct.
So, could I even imagine where to start with that?
Yeah. You roll your alchemy check in order to, or not your alchemy, your tinkerer's check to see what you can come up with for research.
Let's see. Tinkerer's check. What skill do I roll for that?
It
Oh,
would
we
be
could wait for me to get to a level 11. I cast Forbiddens.
What's that?
anyway.
So the
Tinkerers
skill?
is a custom skill. It it uh, it uses your intelligence.
I see. So would I have proficiency?
Yes.
Would I get my tools bonus?
Yes.
Okay. Because I double proficiencies when making skill checks that you would use a toolkit for. And how do I add? Oh, it's like that. Int, let's see, 3 plus. All right, there we are. I got an 8, so a 17.
Yeah. So you know that this would be about the equivalent of making a wand or rod.
Yeah, I don't know what that means in context.
It cost half the price of a wand.
What does a wand cost?
Let me check.
Hey, so I'm trying to look up the Periath of Healing, and I can't seem to find it. I seem
Oh,
to find like every non-magic item, but not any magic
yeah,
item.
I might have to add it to you. Yeah, so it's the equivalent of making a rare item.
So I'm not
Look,
familiar with 5e crafting
yep,
rules.
I'm looking it up. Then why'd you make an artificer?
I didn't know artificers could craft stuff.
That's their whole gig.
Well, yeah, but it's class feature crafting. I can make these specific things as class features. I didn't know the crafting rules worked.
Oh yeah. Okay, so anywhere from 500 to 5,000 gold pieces. So we'll call it middle of the road at 2,500.
Okay. How much gold should I have?
At level 7, like,
Yeah.
let's see. Yeah, I would say probably level times. So 100, 300, 600, 1,000, 1,500, 2,100, 2,800.
2,800.
Mm-hmm.
2800?
Yep. Plus one
Okay.
magic item of your choosing if you didn't already get that. I thought I covered that though.
You gave me a cloak of protection.
Yep.
Oh, and boots of striding of springing, I think.
Oh, so you got two things. Ooh.
Yes, two weak magic items because I already made all the magic items I wanted through my class features.
Yeah. Yeah, which seems fair. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like my kind of ruling.
All right. So let's see. To make a set of 3 of these items, we would need 7,500 gold pieces worth of crafting resources.
Oh, no. You can make
What?
you can make an item on you that will grant this protection to you and all of your allies within, 100 feet, 120 feet.
Something big enough that it shouldn't matter conventionally.
Right.
So we need 2,500 gold pieces worth of crafting resources.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that simplifies things. I guess the next thing we should do is take the Dracodile's head to a town and collect a bounty. Then try to root out where we can begin purchasing the resources needed to make this modification. since I don't imagine that there's a wizard Walmart I can head down to.
No.
Yeah. All right.
We should just be heading to town now.
Yeah, I guess I can link up with my retainers while I'm there.
It's also a good way for Soggy and Nova to see where you exactly come from.
Ooh, yeah. So, anyone have any thing they'd like to conduct here before we leave?
Well, Soggy is first going to show the two skeletons that attacked and shows the suit and tries to take off the clothing. They will
Oh, actually, hey, where'd that rod go?
The rod is still in the coffin along with the two suits of armor.
But I picked it up.
Oh, the rod? Well then you
Yeah.
you have it.
Okay.
still on the
How much does it
skeleton.
weigh?
What's that?
And the
How much does
suits
it
are-
weigh?
One at a time. Hazard what?
Where the suits are still on the skeletons, if I remember.
No, the skeletons crawled out of the suits. The suits are still in the coffins.
Okay, so Soggy is going to sort of like take those suits and show them to the group.
They're
Yeah,
way too heavy for you to lift. All right.
And-
Soggy is trying to lift one.
It's like, I'm confiscating this item on suspicion that it's an evil artifact. I still think the bits of the cadavers ought to be left well alone.
The rod.
Besides- The rod, this thing, it's clearly magical and nefarious. What was being worn by the folks buried here ought to be left, though.
He sort of looks to them, says, "But they shiny."
Indeed, but there is a certain rule and respect that one must give to the dead and fallen. And we cannot take what does not belong to us.
As this is sort of lectured to him, Soggy sort of takes the bow tie. So stealth check.
yeah. All right. So, your wisdom is at least a +1, right? Noman.
I think it is exactly so, yes.
Okay, so you see Soggy grab a bow tie made out of black opals that shines and glitters, and he even puts it on, and so it's obvious, you can see him wearing it, but he thought he was being stealthy, so he just kind of acts like you can't see it.
Gonna rub a metal hand over my helmet-like head and go like, just remember that if you do something amoral, you will eventually be punished for your crimes.
Soggy sort of hears this and sheepishly puts back the bow tie.
Right.
And then starts puts the skeletons in their exact coffins.
That is actually probably appropriate. Let's put all the cadavers in the places they ought to be.
Yeah, there's still a dead guy.
Yeah, let's take him outside too. This isn't his temple. So let's do cleanup and then set on out to town. Yeah?
Up and burial.
Yeah.
All right. So Nova, they are going to bury the body of Donovan as a cleric. Do you perform the burial rituals?
Yes.
As you do that, Sagi's going to add his own sort of burial rituals to the mix, like the marking on the skin and all that.
Oh man, you guys watch as this kobold starts to mutilate Donovan's body.
No, as in with like white powder.
Oh man, now he's doing drugs with it. He's weekend at Bernie and Bernie's it.
You
Just whatever.
the aboriginal version of burial.
He starts to dance with the body and pound around in a kind of Hakka Eastern Island kind of dance.
This is strange. Was this man's way?
Sagi sort of slows down in his like funeral dance and sort of looks to him and to Nova and says, "It, it, it isn't way I know."
Well, I suppose if you are doing it to respect him.
Sagi sort of nods, sort of sheepishly.
And then just goes right back into this ultra like violent crunking Hakka dance, like just pounding his feet into the ground and howling like a madman. And you can almost hear like the ancient spirits, howling along with him as he performs this primal dance.
I guess I'll just sit down and write a few nice words. Oh wow, they were really nice words, I guess.
You compose a epic, bard of a tale of this man and his deeds that manages to encompass a gloriful moral that like reverberates through the ages. And uh being as that you're an artificer, you were able to engrave it onto a little headstone that you can place at the tip of his grave, and everyone who passes by will see the words and weep and gain a temporary bonus to wisdom from having
Uh,
read them.
Yeah, it's at this point I have to flip up my visor and double check this thing that I just wrote down with my gem eyes and go like, I guess I gotta save a copy of this. I am definitely keeping a written version of that on me. I have no idea why the game granted me a 20 on my calligrapher's check out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess so I don't forget it, I'll keep a negligible weight item called Donovan's Epic.
Yes.
How do you
So
spell
at
Donovan?
Donovan.
He sort of tries to help in the spelling.
That looks like Dananan. How do you wait? There's a V in there.
Donovan. Do no van.
Ah, all right. I honestly, okay. Donovan's Epic.
And now, even if that character never makes a comeback, it will be remembered in this world forever as the epic of Donovan, the man who sought revenge and found only the peace of death.
Right. Okay. Suppose with the festivities over, this like big ass head is starting to smell a bit manky. So let's go.
Yeah, no, you ain't lying. Like, with the bodies buried, that fucking half dragon head is starting to stank like a fucking rotting lizard's head.
Yeah. So Suggy sort of helped try and lift up the dragon head onto your back.
Every time I imagined carrying it, I imagined Noman kind of like hooking an arm into its mouth and out and down its throat, and then kind of carrying it on its shoulder like that. I mean, sounds grisly, but it won't bother Noman.
Yeah, why not? Like a big old fucking fish.
Yeah. All right. Let's go then.
We shall go.
Like Bender. I wrote a song. Let's go already. All right. So yeah, you guys head out and you're walking to town, and you guys are coming up to a town on the border of the border kingdoms above Waterran, and it's a town. So what do you do?
Right. How big of a town is this?
I'd say the population is about 2,000, 2,500.
Oh, so it's a piddly ass town. Huh. Still, maybe I can turn in this bounty here. I asked someone if someone can direct me to town hall.
Oh, we just do all our business in the town square up on the stadium? No, podium?
Does your town have a leader?
Yeah, of course we have a leader. We have the town sheriff. He's the de facto leader.
And he has an office, I'd presume.
Well, he does most of his business out of the jail.
Which is?
Where we put the bad guys.
As in, where is it?
Well, then use where, not which. It's over there, and he points to
Okay.
to a building that is designed like a miniature fortress.
Thank you, citizen. Have a nice day. And no one will head off in that direction.
As you approach the jail, you see that indeed it is basically a small tower. It has men with crossbows at the top, and the only way in is through a large gate that has to be lowered across a moat.
Yes. Well, considering the town isn't currently on fire, I don't imagine the. Am I wrong?
You don't imagine what you cut out?
I said I don't imagine the gate is up.
The gate is always up. So as you approach, the guard calls out to state your business.
I call out that I'm looking to collect a bounty.
And
We don't-
Soggy,
We don't
Soggy-
see any prisoners with you. What is Soggy doing?
sort of just hiding behind one of Norman's legs.
It's Norman will continue to point out, I was hoping someone could compensate me for the dragon.
Dragon!
Yes.
And they lower the gate. Boom! It hits the ground.
That Norman will keep on will walk on in.
And as you enter, there is another set of guards with halberds, and then a portcullis that has to be raised, and then finally a man at a desk with rows and rows of cells behind him.
I will say hello. I am Noman, Knight of the Realm.
Yeah. Business? Bounty you're here to pay?
Business indeed. I slew something notable, a red creature of dragon kind off near that direction. I was hoping to be compensated for it.
Show me the head.
And Soggy,
I
before she
guess I just kind of bobbed my shoulder, the one that the head is hanging off of.
Well, I gotta examine it. Put it on that table over there.
and as
I do as instructed.
as the automaton is moving, Soggy sort of puts his disguise of halfling on, and sort of like follows the group. Just letting you know what's with
Oh, yeah.
Soggy.
Nope, you're good. So as the constable examines the head, he says, well, it's a dragon, all right. Standard bounty for a young dragon is 500 gold pieces. And he nods to someone who goes and brings you a chest filled with gold.
I quickly examine it to make sure that, it's fine. It looks like 500 gold to me. And then say, thank you. This is acceptable. Well, I suppose that is all I came here to do. Unless you would have me hear something before I leave, I'll take my leave.
Soggy sort of looks at that sort of chest of that pile of gold and sort of gazes at it, sort of like entranced by its shininess.
The constable says, well, we have been having a bit of trouble lately. A few of the, bugbears have moved in to our territory. And if you were to drive them back, we'll pay you 10 gold pieces per head.
I see. If I wanted to hear more about that situation, who would I talk to?
Well, probably talk to the commanders out in the field if you want to get more information about their exact whereabouts, but I'm kind of the sheriff around here, and I work directly for the Lord of Waterran.
I see. That's interesting. I may or may not do so. In any case, thank you for your hospitality. That, I'm gonna promptly pick up my chest of gold and start leaving.
And
Alright.
as you are sort of moving with the chest of gold, you've noticed that Sagi is sort of inside of it, sort of swimming in the gold.
It's not just that big.
Yeah, no.
It needs to be like 50,000 gold pieces before it's that fucking big.
I mean, Sagi's small.
Yes, this is like a jewelry box.
Yeah, I mean,
Alright.
it's like a bread box full of gold.
Yeah. You'd have to be
Oh,
like a
so-
diminutive creature before you could swim in that.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is
Sort of
funny. Like if you had reduced person or something, and
but anyway, so Sagi is going to be like perched on the shoulder of Norman and sort of wave goodbye to the folks.
everybody waves goodbye,
Yes.
except for one man who's like, "Get me out of here! I didn't do anything."
That, I guess I'll quickly pull out my other papers and quickly note down the whereabouts of the red crocodrake lit head. Dracodile. Anyway,
You gotta help me.
sorry.
I
All
want
right.
my phone call.
With that, this was the nearest town, so I should be able to retainers, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With that, I'm simply going to, head on up to one and, well, simply provide them with a very simple task. I want someone to go and buy all those materials I want while I work locally.
And as this is going on, Sagi sort of looks to Nova and waits for her to see what she's going to do.
I'm gonna go to a temple or an altar.
Sagi
So
sort of
what
falls behind.
what they have is a very small it's kind of like a country church where there's like a few places to stand in front of like a big mural of the gods rather than like anything fancy. This is a real small podunk town.
Sagi looks around and says, "This is smaller than last place Sagi been."
I will go to the altar and I will begin to pray to Pelor and Ilmater, seeking guidance.
And as that's going on, Sagi's going to sort of like examine the rest of the church of like what else is there besides the small amount.
There is a large like basin of water that you seem drawn to.
Yeah, Sagi sort of like looks towards it and so looks back and forth to Nova and sort of thinking to himself, decides he's going to take a dip into the basin and going to start praying in there to the Bunyip for guidance.
Everybody begins to gasp in shocked horror as a kobold crawls inside the sacred water of whatever saint this town is like devoted to.
Okay. Should I mean, like, I was able to send off 2 of the squirts to do what I need. I can pull the money off my character sheet, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I just tell them, bring it back here. Right. I guess I'll also take my portion of the bounty reward. Just so I don't forget. There.
What does everybody else get?
Well, unless Nova has other plans, the kobold gets the other half.
Well, aren't you going to see surprised to see where Sagi is praying in?
As you go to divide up the profits, you find Soggy with a crowd of people like just yelling at him as he like ignores them and continues to bathe in what you know to be their sacred water.
Right. So, on that, I guess I just have to ask one important question. Is this, strictly speaking, illegal?
Nope.
Then it is by
Nobody
it is
ever
by the
nobody
nature
ever
of the law
thought
that he
nobody ever thought that it had to be written down that you don't bathe in the sacred water of Saint Fuckface.
then on principle, Noman will absolutely not give a shit. Since this is definitely one of those times where I guess a quote unquote gap in the law doesn't cause a evil outcome.
Yeah. No, they just, it was one of those things where like nobody thought it had to be written down.
So yes, I'll show up to the basin of whatever and
Saint
inform
Bernard!
what?
Saint Bernard!
Now, yes, the basin of the saint, and let Sagi know that I have their portion of the loot.
As Sagi is sort of meditating and sort of praying to the bunyip, he sort of like pulls his head out of the water, sort of looking to Norman and says, "Ooh, you have the shinies," and sort of steps out of the basin.
Yes, here is your gold. It's 250 pieces. Your cut of the bounty.
Thank you, Sagi says as he sort of puts it in his satchel pouch. And sort of dog dries himself off. Sort of like slashing everyone with basin water.
Yeah. Noman will kind of like snap their fingers to cast prodigitation and immediately dry themselves.
As you splash, everybody in the vicinity like a woman faints to the ground.
God.
Sagi,
Is it obvious that she fainted because she fainted?
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, that's not a medical complication I need to be worried about.
No, yeah, she was like total like, oh my god. Oh.
Yes.
I don't think what you are doing is appreciated.
He says, but Bunyip, but Sagi was just doing what you were doing.
Nova doesn't remember bathing in the basin of Saint Bernard.
Different temples have different way of worshipping. Some may view what your way is it's odd.
Sagi sort of lets out a "oh" and sort of fiddles with his tail as he sort of realizes this and sort of bows lightly at the crowd and says, "Forgive Soggy. Soggy wasn't having. Soggy forgives. Sorry. Says sorry."
Uh-huh.
You guys are kind of like booed out of there.
Uh-huh. Well,
Your guys will be back in like 2 days with all the materials.
that's good. So, in the intervening time, does anyone have anything they'd like to begin doing? Or
As Soggy sort of like decides that realizes that now is a good time to put on his halfling disguise once again. He decides that he sort of taps the the metal man's leg and says, "Is there library?" Soggy sort of tries to culminate out of his voice because he heard and saw people go into libraries, but he's never been into one.
I have
I
never heard of a
very
li-
much doubt this Podunk Town has a library.
I have never heard of a library before. What does it taste like?
Uh, a
Lie.
library is a library is a knowledge repository where books are kept.
Oh, a library. That is very different.
Yeah.
Soggy sort of sort of nods and says, "Well, if thing Soggy thinks he can fish for the meantime."
If that's what you would like to do.
You are by a river.
Yeah. And Soggy is just going to start fishing now since to spend the time.
I suppose if that's how it is, I can my springs.
Soggy is going to start fishing, so roll survival.
Mm-hmm. You catch a huge river carp, easily 100 pounds.
Yeah, Soggy just sort of like splashes into the water and just starts wrestling out a carp.
If that carp weighs 100 pounds, that probably weighs a lot more than you. In fact, I think fish that big could eat you.
Yeah, no, that he went in there and like literally fought it and beat the crap out of it.
Yeah, Soggy fishes that way. That's usually how kobolds fish. And starts sort of dragging it onto the land to show his glorious fish, his catch, to the rest of the group.
Why did you hurt that poor fish? It was minding its own business.
Sala looks puzzled and says, "It is way of finding food. You usually find it and then you hunt it, then you bring it back to land to share with tribe."
It's that point I have to ask. Nova, have you sworn against meat?
I wouldn't say it is an oath of any kind, but I've never eaten meat. I've only been raised to eat things like fruits and vegetables.
Hmm. I see. How very interesting. Well,
I particularly
that means
like
you get to keep that entire fish to yourself.
Soggy sort of like looks to the Warforged before sort of like pulling out his his dragon bone knife and sort of like cutting the Warforged to piece.
It's like, Soggy, I don't eat
Soggy sort of
anything.
looks confused at you before then sort of like deciding to just chow down onto the fish.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot here. Like they pointed out, it's probably twice as big as you. So you eat and eat and eat, and your belly gets so full, and there's still a lot of catfish left.
I thought it was a carp,
Oh, carp? Sure.
a river carp. And he sort of like lets out a satisfied belch as he sort of like looks to bury the remains of the fish into the ground, because usually the when you bury the remains of fish, it fertilizes the ground.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
Yeah, during this time, time of not doing Jack and/or shit, the Gnomons just performing self-maintenance. Can I heal the full, by the way?
Can you what?
Can I heal myself, like to full health?
Yes.
Cool. Can't let any gears slip.
This time, Soggy sort of heals health as well.
Yes, you all get a full rest.
Wait, why is my AC lower now? Oh, my armor disappeared off my sheet. Well, my armor, quote unquote, from my racial trait.
Your skin.
Yeah, my, what is it called? My integrated protection. I gotta look up what that does because it disappeared for some reason.
I'm so sorry for taking this off topic real quick, but something I kind of wanted to do. I never played as a character like this before, but Warforged, right?
Mm-hmm.
How would one make data?
Oh, that data. That fucking scared me for a moment. I was like, I don't remember telling you about him.
Oh, you just happen to have a character in your backstory named Data or something?
No, I'm bad data. A lot of people call me Data. And a lot of the people that I play with know me for playing one specific construct, a very important one. So when I heard that statement, I thought you were referring to him. Also, the name was extremely similar. The name was Dega.
Well, I just mean like what kind of class would Data have?
Eh. And now that I've heard you say it once, I'm assuming you mean the one from Star Trek, right?
Yeah, obviously
Hmm.
he would have like Would it wouldn't be a wizard.
Yeah, I don't know how to translate him either. Then
Okay.
again,
Anyway,
the thing is, I wouldn't even do it in 5e because it's limited. Like, I could probably do the conversion pretty well in Pathfinder because there's so many more resources to work with. But moving on from that analysis.
Yes. So what would we
So
like to do? My Nova is praying. Or I guess we're out
Yeah, you can't
watching
pray the whole 2 days.
you can't, man. I thought that'd been easy for a dedicated religious character.
Well, I guess if you want to, you can, but I figured you'd want to like eat and sleep at some point.
I mean, I thought if you forgo that stuff, it just makes you more powerful. Wait, if that's how it works, Noman should definitely be a cleric. He'd have the highest score.
High score, what does that mean?
He's okay. Um. So, but like holding pattern, 2 days. We're just gonna craft the thingy and then move on from there.
Yeah, sure. Thingy can
All right.
be rolled for.
Well, I will toss a potato onto the. I assume we have a bonfire of some kind.
Uh-huh. A
We're
cooking
in a
fire?
town. We can just stay in an inn.
Oh, okay. We're staying in an inn.
I mean, why not? We have money. It's a short time to stay in a town. And I don't really think Noman wants to be, pulling his guts out in the outside where it could suddenly like start raining or something. Definitely like to do maintenance in a, warm, dry environment.
well, unlike the Warforged, Suggy is going to going to find a isolated place in the town to sort of try and find a way to make contact with the Bunyip.
Going down to the river, you try to make contact with the bunyip.
So
Roll a wisdom save. So, as you try to make contact with the bunyip, once again you are given a vision of the far realm. A horrifying nightmare visage that leaves you shaken and stirred for the rest of the evening.
and during that, now that he's seen that sort of vision of the far realm, he sort of like heads back to the to where the others are and sort of like hides under Nova's bed, sort of shivering.
I will stay. So I'll keep my like. I'll just kind of stiffen up in my bed, like something's under my bed.
Eh. Hmm. Oh, what's the fee for the room?
Oh, this little podunk town, you pay 5 silver per night.
All right, so I guess I hand off a single gold.
Per person.
What?
Per person.
Oh, all right, that's how it is.
That's 15 silver, homie.
All
15
right, so I'll hand off 3
coins,
gold.
little man. Put that shit in my hand. Yeah. Not 15 gold, 15 silver. 1.5 gold.
I know how that works. I hand
Okay.
over 3 gold
Oh, 3 gold. Oh, okay.
because we're staying 2 days,
Oh, right.
and possibly longer if the crafting goes a bit.
Oh, for real. So, craft away, my crafting crafter.
Yeah.
You crafting crafter.
Wait, hold on. I feel like we skipped over something. Didn't Nova want to say something about potatoes?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I eat a potato.
Oh, okay. So what do you want me to roll against?
The table.
What?
The table.
Okay, so what do I roll?
A d20. Plus your crafting ability. Plus
You're
whatever
rolling a crafting
tools.
table.
Yeah, plus whatever tools you have.
Okay, what
Plus if you have
but what
proficiency in
tools do you want me to
crafting.
use?
What tools would you use? To
Yeah.
craft?
Yeah.
What crafting tools do you have?
I have tinkering, thieves, smiths, and calligraphers.
Oh, probably smiths then.
I got an 18. Hey, that's a pretty good check.
All right. So what you make is basically like a magical amulet, but it's an emblem that locks into your integrated armor. Not completely unlike Iron Man's arc reactor, I guess. Not quite exactly a round ring of light, but you know,
I
some
mean,
something something akin to that, you know. And it can kind of take whatever form you prefer, but you know, something along that lines. And as you lock it into place, you find that not only does it prevent you and your allies from being time disrupted, it actually is a save effect area effect for anyone in the area that if they fail their save, they cannot use any kind of time magic, be it haste, slow, time stop, or some kind of reverse time bullshit that the DM made up.
all right. What's
You
it
have an
called?
anti-time displacement field.
Anti-time displacement field. Okay. Then we'll go into our thing. How much should I note it down as weighing, or will it be considered integral gear?
It is in integrated gear. It weighs what you weigh.
Okay. The anti-time displacement field, the ATDF, version 1. Occasion.
Now they still get a save, so you know, like they could still, you know, like don't.
Is the save like against an item DC or
Yeah,
my spell DC?
it's against an item DC, which is set
Okay.
by your spell DC right now at this level.
A spell DC at this level should be 10 plus my int plus my proficiency bonus, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Then my spell DC is 16. So,
Okay.
kind of manky, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I mean that's pretty good.
Right. I forget we're playing 5e, and that's actually somewhat okay.
And as this goes on, Soggy sort of like nervously whittles sort of like the images that he's seen of like the far realms as this is going on.
Oh man, Soggy starts carving eldritch horrors into the fucking uh
To a random piece of wood.
everybody's like, it's not my in.
That does bother me, but like pressing work to do.
Yeah, I suppose you're too busy to babysit the kobold, right?
Yes. All right. Well, that's done, and it's a nice first step. How long did that take?
2 days. Total. Like once they got the materials and you started working and everything, like you completed it in the 2 days.
So, like, after I got the materials, it took a few hours.
Right.
Okay. All right. So that.
I mean, you had
picked
already
out.
been working on it for the whole 2 days, is what I'm trying to say. Like they had to slowly keep bringing you stuff as you continued working.
Ah. Okay. That's what that is. If that is the way of things, then okay. So
And then like you'd
with
send them out for something new, like
yeah. So with that scene two, the next thing we should likely attempt to do is acquire some additional resources or support before we plan any sort of raid. Does anyone have an idea for something they would like to acquire or some measure they'd like to see implemented?
Soggy sort of like thinks to himself before sort of pulling out a map that he's brought from him from the future.
yeah. And suddenly, as you pull out the map, the parts that had eroded and faded with time begin to fill back in magically, as if this was the past version of the map, and you can see clearly where the water temple is marked out in the southern ocean by Oskpibner, the island of fire giants.
Well, Soggy sort of excitedly squeals as he sees this and saying that now he knows where he's going. Now he knows what he's going, and sort of like points to the water where the water temple is to the group. These will help us fix things.
You believe so? Well, you believe it to be true. I have no reason not to believe you. Given that seems, well, a piece of information that is actionable, why not? How far away is this place?
I mean, it's a long way by boat, but more importantly, the island of fire giants is one of the deadliest places on the planet. It is dominated by a huge volcano called Surtur's Revenge. and it is constantly spewing hot lava and ash into the air, choking out all light around it. But there is still plenty of light from the glowing, burning lava that flows all across the island, and the fire giants themselves, burning effigies light up the jungles like some kind of macabre tiki party.
Mm, hmm. None of that sounded spooky. I mean, dangerous. It just sounded atmospheric.
Also, fire giants are notorious a-holes.
Ah, there it is. So, this temple that Sagi wants to get to is in a dangerous place.
It's
But
next to
how
him.
far away is it?
No, it's by the island. It's in a deep trench off the coast of the island.
Ah, well, that changes things. Makes it way easier. Wait, if it's in a deep trench off the coast of water, does it mean like there's not air and shit down there? Like it's filled with water?
It's the water temple.
What else did you expect?
Well,
Well,
not that,
if
obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't have asked the question.
I would think that if we are trying to stop Vicentis, as powerful as he is, power is relative, is it not? Even in this time frame, I doubt he would be so brazen as to just go about his daily plan and just immediately assume to conquer the entire world. He would have to have started somewhere. Perhaps we could look for people who he has affected since he has arrived.
Hmm. Hmm. See. Perhaps, but do we have any mechanism by which to link these things to? Is his likeness or name well known? I mean, perhaps he's done things, but will we know he's the one who's done them? And how would we gather that information?
Even in this timeline, you know that General Visanthus is a young, power-hungry warlord from Carpathia who has made a name for himself by doing horrible deeds in the Black Tower to Nueglian soldiers he has captured.
I see. So, we know of him. That
Perhaps we should
mean,
go to the High Temple of Nueclia.
perhaps.
But if we go to Water Temple, maybe we can find power to best him.
Perhaps. Um, believe there is value in both of these prepositions.
So, yeah, you guys have a few, ways you can go with everything. What are you gonna do?
I mean, obviously we have a suggestion for party A and a suggestion for party B, and I'm indeterminate. But like, it seems kind of like hard choices.
Soggy, what can you tell me about your deity?
The
It's
Bunyip.
Bunyip?
Yes, Soggy sort of like fumbles a bit as he sort of pulls out the as he sort of shows Silphus to the group, who looks like a snake but looks a bit more translucent.
What association does the Bunyip have with vampires or the undead?
Soggy sort of says they are invading. They invade his waters, his rivers. Every body of water is being corrupted by sucky sucks. He is willing to fend off. He is willing to help us fend off this if we are to contact him. And so, if we head to Water Temple, we can easily talk to him.
Does this Bunyip not have a temple?
Saki sort of says to himself, he does not have temple like your gods. He is worshipped through river. No kobold has ever built a temple for the Bunyip because it is unnecessary. Is this right, DM?
Yes, correct.
The Water Temple is the closest thing to the Bunyip temple because it is a temple dedicated to the element of water.
This water temple sounds like it is very far. Is this the same water temple that I am thinking of?
Soggy sort of looks to him and says, "You've been in Water Temple before?"
Do I know anything of the water temple in my time?
Yeah. What you know of in your time is that part of Vasanthis's master stroke involved using the fire, water, earth, and air temples to unlock the fifth temple, which allowed him to resurrect the dead god Falazure, who granted him the power to rule the shadow plane and become like a living god.
Wait.
In my time, Vasanthus had used the water temple to his advantage.
Soggy's, after hearing this, sort of dropping his jaw and says, "Slimy, stupid, sucky sucks!" And he just sort of flails his arms in the air and sort of starts stomping his feet, making a ruckus.
Tell me, do you know the mechanism by which that transpired?
Yeah, so basically the way that it works is that each of the 4 temples has a guardian that has to be defeated. And if you defeat all 4 of the guardians, they are protecting the 5th temple from being found. And if you defeat all of them, then you can find the 5th temple. And if you go there, you can perform the ritual that resurrects Falazure.
So, when a guardian is slain, what happens?
that temple like is unlocked.
I see. Mm. Not workable. Makes it difficult to sabotage. How powerful are these guardians?
I mean, Nova wouldn't know that like per se.
I see.
I do not know how strong these guardians are, but what I can tell you is this. One by one, each temple fell. And in the end of it, darkness took over the world. This darkness came from the Shadowfell. He, being General of Asanthis, managed to extend it to the rest of the mortal plane. I cannot speak for other elements or other things of magical kind in this world, but I do know one thing. General of Asanthis sought desperately to escape one thing and one thing only. You see, he went and sought out fire, he sought out earth and water, but there is one thing he could not bear, and that was the sun. I think it would be best if we went to the temple of Inu Eglia. Or is it Eglia? I don't know. I'm in the past.
No, New Eglia is still existent right now, but they're still very new and involved in their civil war with Eglia and Carpathia.
Actually, that does bear up an idea worth researching. Perhaps something of relation to the fire or the sun is worth investigating.
Looks to him and says, Soggy been there, nothing like that. Nope.
Hmm.
He actually been there.
How troubling. Ah. Let's see. Well, that is elemental fire. God, are there any sun worshippers anywhere?
Yes.
Yeah, Palor. Palor is the sun god. Is it?
He is?
Yeah, Palor is known as the Shining One, the Dawn Father, the Grandfather of Light.
Ah, man, I must have been thinking of someone. He was like the dwarf god.
I mean, we've got a worshiper of Pela right here.
Well, yeah, but that's one worshipper of Palor.
Yeah, New Eglia worships a female version of Palor.
Oh, hey, I guess that's a tick up from me.
They just call her the Lady of Light.
Right. So,
It sounds like that person from Pathfinder. I forgot her name.
who? Ah,
I'm drawing a blank at the moment.
it's one thing I never invested about Pathfinder is the fucking Pathfinder Pantheon, despite playing that game a shit ton.
Yeah, Eglia worships like uh forest and nature spirits and all of that. They're very druidic in their beliefs, almost like pagan Celtic, but the New Eglians.
You kind of cut off there for me.
Oh, the New Eglians believe in the divinity of the Lady of Light, who is just a female version of Palor.
I see. Hmm.
Oh, that's interesting because druids and anyone worshiping any version of Palor should not be at odds with each other.
Well, they are when druids believe that there are no gods and that everything is just, nature spirits and all of that. And so
Oh,
if
the shamans.
yeah,
Okay.
and so when you say that no, there's like these gods and they have rules, they're like, no, the only rules are like, you know, the rules of nature. And they're like, no, no, like there's a whole bunch of other stuff that we got to do, like build cities and shit. And uh, they were very at odds with that, even though Eglia has moved into a far more modernized society since those days. That was the initial split.
I see. That's very neat.
Soggy sort of hears that there's sort of like these druidic people that respect nature spirits, like the Bunyip, and sort of chirps happily at that. Maybe these druidic people can help us.
Ah, supernatural threats are such a pain. Personally, I like the kind of problem that can be solved by cutting its head off.
Oh my.
Soggy sort of mutters to himself, that usually isn't always true.
Ah, it's macabre, but it just makes the paperwork easier.
Trust us, Metal Man. This is good. We need to do this.
Yes, I'm aware it needs to be done. That it needs to be done doesn't. We have a problem, not a solution. All I'm hearing are maybes.
He sort of like looks to Insu and says, so, what do we do? Water temple or druid folk?
Hmm. Hmm. Nova, I think you should be the one to make the call.
Well, all I don't know very much about nature spirits or druidism. I only know that Palor relates to them. Sometimes I have been called to go and bless farmlands or a forest, but I, if you ask me, we should probably go and see the religious factions. Maybe they can help us.
But isn't the druids one of them?
I don't know.
I mean, under what I know, they should technically classify.
So Soggy looks to the group and says, so we find druids and then we go to Water Temple with their help.
Perhaps. Perhaps this can work to produce something worth having.
Soggy sort of nods and says, let us go then. And sort of like mounts up onto the shoulders of of Norman.
Right.
Let us go find the druids of Palor.
So how far are we going, Arrakis?
Where are you guys going?
Where are we going?
Where are the druids
I-
of Palor?
There are no druids of Palor.
Soggy sort of understood that it was something like that.
No, so Nova said that there's a relationship between those who worship nature or nature spirits and nature gods and Palor, as the trees and everything. Basically, none of these things can exist without the sun, and so there is a relationship there. Imagine having your crops
Yes,
worshipped.
but Soggy sort of I know that, but Soggy hears it as druids of Palor.
Anyway, the druids are in Eglia, but like, I mean, they're not like what you think. I'm talking about like Celts. Like very primal people.
Okay.
Which is why they sort of like caught the attention of Soggy.
Yeah, this is probably more like barbarians, but with kilts.
Right.
I mean, I just wanted to be clear about what you guys were going towards, if that's what you wanted to.
Well,
Yes.
I mean,
We understood it, I believe.
I don't understand anything. This is like way outside the scope of things I have expertise on.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure what to do next. I mean,
If you like,
Yeah,
I can give you guys a simple, like, you know, 3 option, like, you know, presentation of what the main routes are here.
it's like I get the impression that we as characters should be able to drum up a plan. I just don't think we as players can at the moment.
Possibly. And so, yeah, let me just, you know, present it to you like this. In Soggy's esteem, you guys should be finding a way to get to the water temple because he believes that somehow, some way, his patron is going to be the way to save the day here. Nova,
Okay.
more or less, is of the impression that you guys.
You guys should.
You cut out there, DM.
you cut out.
Oh, Nova more or less believes that the move is to move on Vasanthus. You know, either striking at his power base in Carpathia or trying to beat him to the bone tower. You know, some plan that moves on Vasanthus. And Noman.
Actually, to be 100% honest, um, sorry if I haven't made that. I should have probably made it more clear. General Vasanthus is obviously known in this time, but he has not done the amount of damage. Is this the same? Is this the same world as before? Like we're not in a new world, are we?
You're because of the way timelines work, it is technically a new world because multiverse theory is a bitch. But yes, this is your exact past. But you do know that this is the General Vasanthus from the future. Like, this is the one who has done everything. It's just he's come back in time now and used the magic of time travel to assume his younger form.
I'm gonna ask that. Okay, see, I don't really have knowledge history, so I'm not gonna bother trying. But I'm gonna ask Noman if there's still churches and temples, and are there religious orders?
Do I have to roll for that, or
No,
sounds
you-
like a pretty blanket statement?
Yes. Yes, you know of several religious orders.
Yes, there are several such things.
Well, one of DeSantis's strengths is that he is from a time in the future, but is one of his weaknesses is that so am I. He may know how to commit to his plan while making less mistakes, but I was there when that plan was being done. I have a general idea of what he is going to do, and I think that if we were to tell the holy clerics and paladins, we may be able to get those who would be able to help us or point us in the right direction. I am a pretty powerful cleric, but there are those who are much stronger than I, and I doubt that this timeline and this present would be any different.
Perhaps. How much sway do you think you have with such people?
Well, assuming that they don't consider me a mad person, if I the run problem is I am from of a distant future, and I have no relatives here, nor do I have anyone to vouch for me. I don't know if I'll be able to speak to any of the noble class within the religious orders. I may be able to tell them, and they may even have a general idea of what I'm talking about. General Vicentis is known in this time.
Hmm.
Is that a question? Yeah, he's very known.
Yes.
Well, if we could convince the religious orders and seek their favor, we may be able to tell them his plan of defeating the Guardians.
Perhaps. I actually do like this, because with my efforts, I believe there is a way to go about this in such a way that demands very little of our attention but can have maximum effect. And that is with some strongly worded letters.
Dear Sir or Madam, I am writing to you to inquire as to why you have not provided more assistance against General Vasanthus. This is
Sounds
simply
powerful.
untenable.
That is, I
Sounds
believe we can marshal the forces of the world as best as we can while using a very minimal investment of our time.
So we fight him with words?
No,
Sounds just
we spread
confused at this point.
information in a way that seems credible and believable. And using your knowledge and my credentials, we should get many to listen. I don't expect universal support for claims so bold, but so long as it is known, that is the best we can hope for.
So he sort of looks to him and says, so we send a letter with what we know, and then we can. And then what?
And
Sir.
then,
Are you a knight?
yes, I
And
am Noman, House Eternal.
do you have sway in this house eternal?
It's kind of an empty house, named for me, because it will only ever have one lord.
He does hold a little bit of sway with one of the border towns on New Eglia. And by a little bit, I mean he basically runs it.
In my time, General Vasanthus had gained so much power and so much wealth. The people were starved, and those with any wealth or any power were afraid to lose what they had. Almost everyone knelt before him. We must rally the forces of good now, before it is too late.
Yes, that I believe in. But I also believe in the great ability of men to stumble when it's important. We are the most important weapon in this fight, and although we can try to reach out for the help of others, we still ultimately have to do things ourselves. That's why I've decided, and I hope I have support in this decision, to delegate the role of acquiring their support to something that won't devour all of our time. We'll send word. We'll tell the people who are important what they need to know. What they do with that information is on them, I'm afraid. There are too many important heads to let know this, to personally trot around the country while we could be looking onto other avenues.
Yeah, you guys don't really have time for a press tour.
So, I am, well, I would call myself quite skilled with the pen. I think I can put your message to this world, to give them the information they did not have in your past. But I also believe we should explore other options.
And Saki sort of slowly lifts up the map.
That being said, I also do remember Atarakis was about to present a third option.
Oh, I was just going to say that Noman would probably argue for reconciling resources via, going to your hometown and gathering up any, minions, cannon fodder that you could.
I wouldn't exactly call them that, but they may be helpful nevertheless.
Yeah. I mean, call them whatever you want. The point is
Anyway.
that it's good to have trap finders.
Wow, Atarakis, you're so brutal.
Hey, you want to go to the water temple and fucking make it out or not? Yeah.
Well, the thing about going to the water temple is how the f are we going to get mooks there? I don't need, air.
Yeah.
And these are two spellcasters, so I think we could work it out between us, but I don't think we can get an entire fucking subjugation squad down there.
That might be hard.
Yeah. So I imagine the three of us could make it down there.
Yes.
Possibly.
That being said, we don't have time to try everything. I, despite myself, believe there is promise in Sagi's quest. But there's still no guarantee. If this Bunyip has some bestowal, blessing, or power that could help us in our journey, it wouldn't exactly be an awful idea to look into it. But such a risk. And two, I'm not certain as to the nature of these guardians. would it be possible that simply for entering temple grounds we may be forced into conflict with them? That could undercut our own efforts. Would you know enough about the Guardians to comment on that?
Soggy knows that as soon as he entered the fire temple layer of the fire temple, that they were confronted by many large fiery spiders and one giant fiery spider that they defeated.
Soggy sort of like makes the gestures of spiders sort of crawling around and making the whoosh, whoosh noise.
I see. Well, on that. It'd be an easier call to make if I felt Soggy's thing was guaranteed, but actually seems like sending out the letters and then going on the aggressive might be better because it kind of guarantees the maximum possible disruption to his plans. I mean, it will at the very least slow him down.
And sort of talk to the Guardians. Maybe that whole like resurrection of the evil dragon can be halted.
Perhaps. Can we dialogue with the Guardians? Would we be able to visit the water temple peacefully if we went?
I know you're not asking me that.
I mean, I don't even think I'm asking anyone in specific.
Yeah.
It's
just positing the issue. I just wanted to make it clear that there's no way in hell I'm answering that.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
an island of fire giants. I find that unlikely.
well, we don't have to actually go to the island. We'd dive offshore.
Yeah, you just want to use their harbor. They should be cool with that.
And if we don't use their harbor, we just sneak, and they do not notice us.
Looking at it, everything about this seems fishy.
Soggy sort of scrunches his face and says, "Was that pun?"
Not quite, but still. My current suggested course of action is that we send out letters, we go on offensive Xanthus.
All right, so it's to a vote. We all know Soggy wants to do the water temple. Noman has now decided that, spreading a campaign of information and pleas for, rallying together, combined with going on the offensive is the way to go. Nova, that leaves it to you with the deciding vote.
That's tough. I mean, power is power. So don't get me wrong. If the Bunyip is strong enough to do something about Vasanthus, then it's something we should do. The only thing that I don't know about is the relationship between, say, a water eldritch being and vampires. Granted, we're saying that the vampires are polluting their waters and is offending him.
That was just Soggy's opinion.
Yeah, that's just what we're going off of as characters. On the other hand, the only thing I can really think of is like as a sun god. Like he despises all manner of undead and has and again, I can't speak to your world here, okay? So
Okay.
please correct me if I'm crossing any boundaries here, but
Sure.
Paylor has an open understanding with an open uh I don't know what's the word not agreement, but basically any vampire that just asks for Paylor's forgiveness will be given it, and it's up to between that vampire and Paylord as
Oh
to what
yeah, no that.
happens.
Oh yeah, no that doesn't work. Like Paylor can forgive them all he wants. It doesn't make them not a.
I'm talking about like what happens after that happens. They'll
Oh,
say
oh, yeah, yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
is
That,
it whether they're destroyed and they're like it's okay, you go to heaven with me,
yeah,
or like okay, here you go, you have your humanity back. What that's up to on a case by case basis between say that vampire character and Paylor.
yeah. Except for he can't restore them to humanity. They are cursed by somebody more powerful than Paylor.
Sort of
Okay.
cut off there, GM.
They are cursed by somebody more powerful than Paylor.
More powerful than Paylor. Jeez, who is this? The Queen of Blades?
Queen of Pain.
Yeah, the Queen of Pain. Like
Oh, Lady
that.
of Pain. Lady of Pain. That's her.
Yeah. The Lady of Pain in
No, yeah, and no,
Cityscape.
and no. It's somebody even more powerful than that.
Really? Okay. Well, I mean, this is your story, so I
Well, I mean, it's
can't
pretty it's
can't.
pretty well accepted that death is one of the, top powers in any multiverse, pantheon.
Wait,
So,
really? Why would death be that powerful?
I don't know, man. The Lady of Pain does not have stats.
no, I know.
Paylor has stats.
I mean, on that, like, why would death be all that powerful? Can't death not even start being relevant until mortals begin to exist? I thought a lot of the powers and
Oh, no,
creatures
no,
would
no, no,
predate
no, no,
death.
no, no. You're confusing immortal with like immortal just means the death has always existed in some form. There's basically three prime powers. There's the power of creation, the
Law.
and which like focuses raw power into like existent shapes and forms and laws and the way the
Yes,
physical
yes.
universe interacts, and then the entropy or destruction of all of that.
Oh, you're gonna phrase it that way? Last time I heard the three power spiel, you said it was time.
No, time's like a fourth power. It's like what ties
I don't remember it that way.
it's like what ties the three of them together and allows them to interact, because without time as the copper wire to flow through, there would be no, anything.
I remember that differently
Agree.
from the last time it was explained to me, but okay.
Because my understanding of the Lady of Pain is she is deathless. She's not immortal. She is deathless.
Oh
She
yeah,
exists
she
outside of time.
yeah. No, she
There,
she is she is extremely powerful enough to rival death, but death cannot be overridden even by her as far as the curse that it has.
And also,
They're
wait, the curse of
undead.
vampirism comes directly from death?
Yeah, there's a whole.
Well, then I have to ask then, what the hell did what exactly did fucking I can't believe the name I can't believe I forgot his name. It's the Death Knight of the Rose.
Lord Soth.
Yeah, what the hell did Lord Soth do? Because my understanding is that the gods cursed him to never be able to die, and now he's a planeswalker.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's um basically especially cursed um by all of the gods, and I'd have to go reread the books to remember exactly what it was that he did to earn that.
Well, I know what he did, but when you compare to the level of cosmic force that you're speaking of, like we're talking about like Marvel Comics level of like
Oh, if Death wanted to take
conceptual
Lord Soth, could it? Uh, yes, but like it would cost Death to do so.
Wait, if death itself is like old primordial bullshit, then why are vampires so fucking evil? Shouldn't he like be outside of that?
Vampires and Death like don't get along.
Wait, does that mean we could ask Death for help in killing his punk ass vampires?
Possibly.
What? That sounds like
Well,
a
here's
really funny and interesting
um
solution.
Death is probably entropy incarnate and wouldn't give two flying fucks about what happens to our world or the vampires that are doing anything to it. And like if you think that's your problem. Like, we are talking about
Annoying.
the absolute true neutral.
That's very true.
Yeah.
I mean, he's neutral, but
Yeah, but he
feels
is the
annoying that we have to clean
very
up his messes.
Doesn't even necessarily view it like that though.
Okay, he can continue to be above it all, but like, I'm gonna ask someone to call him a prick for me, and he'll listen.
Possibly. Possibly.
Anyway.
So what was the vote then, Nova?
darn. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, I think that we should probably reach out and share information that Nova has.
Yeah, that's definitely penciled in. We'll do that. But like,
But to be
that's
fair, I mean, if you're asking me for my vote, or if you're asking for Nova's vote, that was like, what Norin said writing a letter is essentially along the lines of what Nova had suggested. So that would be her vote.
And then what after that?
yeah, that U turns us to we still don't have a plan for what to do after that. 'Cause that's an accessory to a plan. That's not a plan.
Well, I think we should try to find Visanthus and stop and like curb him at every attempt. In the very least, we have to keep him away from the elemental temples.
So a full direct assault.
Points to the map, keeps pointing to the map.
Yeah, so basically it's a combination of the two plans with the caveat that you guys are not going to the water temple unless it is to prevent Visanthus from getting there. Right now it is locating him, discerning his plans, and thwarting them at every turn.
I mean, it would be convenient if we knew when he planned to go to the water temple. We could make a trip of it.
Yeah. Yeah, but so
there is one thing. I guess Nova would know this. So would Sagi. Visanthus can fly.
yeah.
You can fly.
Yep.
Like fast? Is it like important flight?
Well, he caught up us. He caught up to us on horseback. Well, no, he didn't. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's still flight, even if it's slow flight. Like slower, like a slow flight. Let's say max of 30 feet per round. He doesn't have to worry about any terrain whatsoever. We would have to still be able to go through forests, over rivers, or over a mountain if we had to. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
if you
he's
fly
fast.
slowly, if you could fly, even if it's very slowly over a mountain, you're gonna get over that mountain much faster than somebody who has to climb it.
Yep, that exactly. And uh, to that point, that means you guys have to, do whatever you're going to do quickly. And so you guys begin to write. First, Noman writes the base letter and then has uh, Nova help him make copies of it as much as possible. Soggy, after messing up several sheets of paper attempting to copy the letters, is given the task of sealing them all and preparing them to be sent to the many destinations that they are bound for. And so
As
Soggy
sealed the
presses a wax seal containing the signia of House Eternal into all of the wax, um, you know, things, puddles. I don't even know what you would call it. Wax drippings. Um, you guys now
A seal.
have a basket full of them. You go and hire messengers and use carrier ravens to fly your messages all across New Eglia, the border kingdoms, even some cities as far north as Caledonia, and you spread your message far and wide and wait to hear back from anyone, but you cannot wait long as you get reports that General Vasanthus is marshaling an army near the Black Tower. Heading out in that direction, we will find out what awaits you guys next time on Heroes Wanted. I want to thank you guys for playing. I want to thank anyone who's watching. And as always, everyone, good gaming.
gaming.